U.S. shuts down Arizona border after terrifying underground find. Beneath the scorching sands of Arizona, a secret highway had been operating for years. A highway that could move people, weapons, and threats completely undetected by the most advanced surveillance systems on Earth. While politicians debated walls and barriers, the real invasion was happening 60 feet underground. This is the story of the discovery that changed everything we thought we knew about border security. A discovery so shocking it forced an entire state into emergency lockdown. For the residents of Nogales, Arizona, July started like any other month. Temperatures soared past 110 degrees, tourists avoided the area. Life moved at the pace of survival. Maria Santos, a lifelong resident of Nogales, had been hearing things for weeks. Strange sounds at night that seemed to come from deep underground, like machinery running where no machinery should exist. But who do you call about something like that? Who would believe such a story? Maria wasn't the only one experiencing these mysterious disturbances. Border Patrol agents had been reporting unexplained sensor triggers for months. Surveillance drones detected heat signatures where no humans should have been. But in a region where paranoia runs as deep as the desert heat, these reports were often dismissed as equipment malfunctions or wildlife interference. No one suspected the truth was far more sinister. Agent Rodriguez had worked this sector for 12 years. He knew every coyote trail, every smuggling route, every hiding spot carved into the unforgiving landscape. But what he discovered on July 15th would haunt him forever. It was 6:47 a.m. when the ground gave way. A routine patrol had been following unusual seismic readings when Agent Rodriguez noticed something that made his blood run cold. The earth beneath his feet felt hollow. What they found next defied every assumption about border security. This wasn't a crude tunnel dug by desperate migrants. This was something else entirely. Concrete walls reinforced with steel, ventilation systems humming quietly in the darkness, electric lighting that ran for miles, and railroad tracks disappearing into the black void ahead. This was a highway, an underground highway that had been operating beneath their feet for years. As federal investigators descended into what they would later codename the Shadow, the true scope of the operation began to emerge. 6 miles long, 60 feet underground, with exit points cleverly disguised within abandoned buildings and natural rock formations. This wasn't just engineering, it was artistry and deception. Structural engineers said, "In 30 years of construction, I've never seen anything like this." The anti-resonance linings to block sonar detection, the pressure-sensitive flooring to minimize heat signatures, this is military-grade technology. But the most chilling discovery came deeper in the tunnel. Break rooms with folding furniture, storage areas stocked with supplies, communication devices still warm to the touch. Someone had been living down here, working down here, planning down here. And then they found the crates. Sealed in vacuum packaging and hidden in wall niches were items that transformed this from a smuggling operation into something far more dangerous. High-grade weaponry, encrypted electronics, forged documents in multiple languages, and perhaps most terrifying of all, biometric spoofing kits designed to fool fingerprint and retina scanners. Dr. Sarah Chen, a cybersecurity expert called in to analyze the electronics, made a discovery that sent shockwaves through the intelligence community. Dr. Chen said, "These weren't off-the-shelf devices. They had been custom programmed with government-level encryption. Whoever built these had access to classified security protocols." The implications were staggering. This wasn't just about moving people or drugs across the border. This was about infiltration at the highest levels. And then came the most disturbing discovery of all. Deep in the climate-controlled chambers, forensic teams found traces of human presence that defied explanation. DNA samples that matched no database. fingerprints from people who officially didn't exist, fabric fibers from clothing that couldn't be traced to any manufacturer. FBI analysts said, "In 20 years of forensic work, I've never encountered evidence of people who were so thoroughly erased from every system. It's like they were ghosts." The phantoms, as the intelligence teams dubbed them, had passed through this tunnel regularly. But who were they? Spies? Saboteurs? Sleeper agents? And more terrifyingly, where were they now? By noon on July 15th, the decision was made at the highest levels of government. The Arizona border would be completely sealed. Within hours, what had been a normal border crossing became a war zone. Military checkpoints sprouted like steel flowers in the desert. The National Guard established perimeters that stretched for miles. But for the residents of Ngalas and surrounding communities, this wasn't entertainment. This was their new reality. Schools went into lockdown, emergency services developed new protocols for underground threats, children learned drills for dangers their parents had never imagined. As the forensic teams worked around the clock, a pattern began to emerge that chilled investigators to the bone. The tunnel hadn't been built recently. Geological analysis revealed construction dating back nearly a decade. For 10 years, this shadow highway had operated beneath America's most watched border. Geological expert. The mineral reformation we found at sealed shaft ends, the sediment layers. This operation was planned with the patience of a chess master. They were thinking decades ahead. But perhaps most disturbing was what the financial investigation revealed. The money trail led through cryptocurrency exchanges, shadow banks, and front companies across 3 continents. This wasn't the work of a local cartel. This was international. This was sophisticated. This was state-sponsored. As intelligence analysts pieced together the evidence, a terrifying picture emerged. The Arizona tunnel wasn't alone. Satellite analysis of similar geological regions revealed anomalies, unexplained ground compression, subtle shifts in underground water flow, displaced sediment patterns that had been invisible until investigators knew what to look for. The shadow wasn't a tunnel. It was part of a network, an underground interstate system designed to move threats across America undetected. Each new discovery brought the same chilling realization. America's enemies weren't at the gates. They were already inside. They had been inside for years. While politicians debated and investigators analyzed, real people were living through a nightmare that redefined their understanding of safety. Border Patrol agents said, "You spend your whole career thinking you're protecting the homeland, and then you find out that the real threat was happening right under your feet. It changes you. It changes how you see everything." Agent Rodriguez, the man who first discovered the tunnel entrance, hasn't returned to work since the discovery. His colleagues describe a man haunted by the implications of what they missed. Dr. Martinez, the lead investigator, told us the hardest part wasn't what they found in the tunnels. It was imagining what they hadn't found yet. 3 weeks after the discovery, news of the tunnel finally broke to the public. The reaction was immediate and visceral. Social media exploded with theories, fears, and demands for answers. Hashtags like Ja'a Tunnel Truth and Underground Invasion trended for days. Town halls and border communities overflowed with frightened residents demanding answers that officials couldn't provide. The discovery had shattered more than just border security assumptions. It had shattered the fundamental belief that America's homeland was secure. Today, 6 months after the discovery, the Arizona border remains partially sealed. The tunnel has been filled with concrete and steel, but the questions it raised remain unanswered. New detection systems have been deployed across the Southwest. Underground surveillance networks monitor soil shifts and seismic anomalies. A new department within Homeland Security focuses solely on subterranean threats. Dr. Martinez said, "We've learned that the enemies of America are patient, sophisticated, and always one step ahead. The Arizona Tunnel wasn't the end of something, it was the beginning of our understanding of a threat we never saw coming. The desert keeps its secrets well, but now we know that beneath the sand and stone, in the darkness where satellites cannot see and walls cannot protect, the real battle for America's security continues.